A game reserve is a safe haven for wildlife. Both the reserves and parks in South Africa are fenced off, so the animals within cannot escape. And it's for their protection, so that if they did escape or if they were roaming freely, people would kill them. So it's to protect wildlife and hopefully have people to come and view them, do game drives and look at all these animals and how they coexist with each other in their natural habitat. We've got two separate sections. Apart from the wildlife in the north section and the southern section of Scotia, the vegetation and the terrain is quite different. In the southern section of Scotia, we've got a more wooded environment. The soil around here, because of that, is more of a loamy type soil. It's a lot darker soil. The grass is a bit sweeter. Up in the north of the reserve, it's more open plains environment, a lot less bush, and therefore there's more plains game in that area. So the northern section is more north-facing as well, whereas the southern section is more south-facing, and there's sort of a big ridge of hills between the two. So we get slightly more rainfall, I'd say, to the south than the north. Generally just more moisture coming off the ocean, which is 20 kilometers from us. We all go and hide behind a building to get out of the wind. A lot of the animals will use hills, because on top of the hill it might be very windy, but if you go just down into the valley, it might be less windy. Some of the other animals like impala, nyala, kudu, lots of other animals will go and hide under a big tree or behind a bush next to each other. They make a plan if the wind picks up or if it gets cold and rainy, etc. Hippos and crocodiles, for example, would be two animals that would utilize a water point. They would use it for shelter from sunlight, the heat, and they come out of the water at night. But also for shelter from predators. The crocodile is a predator, but he might want to hide from a lion that might be coming too close to him. Also, they'll use it as a hide, to hide in the water to catch animals that come to prey. Every now and then the crocodiles get lucky and take a snack. Most of the animals are intelligent enough to stay away, and they go to other water holes. Animals, different species in their habitat coexisting with each other and each other's habits. You've got prey and predators to start with, and you've got grazers and browsers, and that's how you can group them. So obviously, the animals, the prey, will try their best to keep away from the predator. And then you get browsers and grazers. Browsers will eat in the bush and the grazers will eat in the grass. They generally don't really stick together, but then when you're in each group and you've got a bunch of grazers that are all eating the same grass, those different species might group together and you'll find them being really good friends. Each individual species might have its own social system, and it's more evident in certain species than others. For example, elephants have got an incredible social system. Nearly every species has a male that is going to be territorial, which means they will have a piece of an area that they'll protect from other males that might want to come into their area. Some species are even territorial as a herd, like the rhinoceros. They might not move around everywhere, they'll stick to a certain path, and that's their kind of territory. When it comes to some antelope species as well, you'll find that they'll stick to certain areas. They don't really think about food when it comes to territory and space. It's more for breeding purposes. When we arrived in the 1830s, we didn't want wild animals to interfere with our cattle and our farming. So they were forced out or they were hunted out. We've had to reintroduce those animals. Scotia has its special little place in the Eastern Cape, and we're situated in a beautiful part of the world. We say as long as the animals fit into this habitat and they are healthy and happy, we can bring them in. It's all part of conservation.